Good Baltimore morning, everyone. My name is Kira Wisniewski. I have the honor and privilege of being your host and co-organizer of Creative Mornings Baltimore. We're so glad that you could be joining us here again, broadcasting live from Adorn Vintage Furniture here in our beloved Baltimore City on the ancestral land of the Piscataway people. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Raina and Adorn for not only hosting us today, but every month this year. We're so grateful for her, for you, and let's get into it, y'all. But actually, before we get started, I just want to say that Black lives continue to matter. Creative Mornings Baltimore is one of over 200 chapters from around the world, and we are one of dozens of events happening today. We are excited once again, as always, to have our friends from HASA here. So hello to Sherry and Lauren, who will be helping us with accessibility this morning. We know if we truly want to live up to our mantra of everyone is creative and everyone is invited, we need to do the best we can to be accessible to everyone. And our ASL is underwritten by Eddie's of Roland Park, who's inviting viewers to snap a pic from your holiday feast and share it on Instagram or Facebook with the hashtag Made Special by Eddie's for your chance to win a $500 Eddie's gift card. Every valid entry also generates a $1 donation to the Maryland Food Bank. Details and rules of Eddie are at eddiesofrolandpark.com/made special by Eddie's. This video paper cuts were by local artist Annie Howell, animated by local motion graphic designer Jessica Barnes. So shout out to Eddie's. And also, you know, you're not only giving yourself a chance to win a $500 gift card, you're also donating to the Maryland Food Bank. So like win-win for everyone, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Nicoletta and I were just talking before we went live about how we're all over the pandemic and being on Zoom, but thank you for being here. So that's all to say is like we want to acknowledge that pain point of like joining virtually, but also just really express our appreciation for you still showing up and joining us this morning. So whether you're here by Facebook or YouTube, we see you, we appreciate you, and I just really want to give you the permission to be here and be fully present. I know that it can be super tempting to just shoot off an email there or, you know, get this other little work thing done, but that can wait. Trust. Time is a construct. You don't need to do that right now. Like, just be here with us. Just be here with us. And we know that this can't replace that IRL experience, but we hope that you can be present with us for like, you know, the next 45 minutes or so. And of course, we miss you, and we would love to see how this all looks on your end. So tag us, slide into those DMs. We want to see, we want to hear from you. Thank you for being here. And we want you to go ahead and engage with us in the chat. We have Arlene here with us today. She is going to be joining you on Facebook. What up, Arlene? Hey. And Arlene and Anita have been joining us all year, engaging with you all in the chat virtually, which so much gratitude for them. So thank you so much, Arlene and Anita. All right, and so every month, we really love to invite someone special in our community to read our Creative Mornings Manifesto. And this month, we're really excited to just be featuring one of our own. Henley Moore has been part of the Creative Mornings Baltimore team since the summer of 2019. She's a photographer, a videographer, a journalist, and a really true team player. She's been incredibly instrumental in these productions, and we're just so lucky to have her. Please welcome Henley Moore to the Creative Morning stage.
Hi. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in virtual hugs and digital high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Yay!
Yay! Thank you so much, Henley. And really, thank you to all of our volunteers. If you didn't know, fun fact for today, Creative Mornings is 100% volunteer run. We work on what we like to call an engine of generosity, truly relying on people and companies and organizations that give a damn. So shout out today to our dream team of Mario, Winston, Henley, Sean, Sabina, April, and Anita. Thank you all so much for being here. And also, we want to give a shout out to our sustaining partners. These are people who are supporting us every month. And thanks to one of our sustaining partners, we actually have fun little analog signs that Sabina's going to hand model for us. So starting with Pixelated Photo Booth. Then we also have Impact Hub Baltimore. And we have Local Color Flowers. Look at these flowers.
Listen.
Look at them. Or actually, you can't see them yet. You'll see them in a minute. They're beautiful. Adorn Vintage Furniture, where we are sitting right now. And you could have purchased these chairs if you did it before Sean Champion did last night. And, we also have Alpha Graphics, who made these lovely analog signs. And, you know, Eddie's of Roland Park, who are helping underwrite ASL. Shout out to them. HASAP, who is our partner for providing the ASL, shout out to them. Yeah. Maryland Art Place, who is our fiscal sponsor. So if you want to make a donation to us on Giving Tuesday, you can and should. And of course, White Tea Co. We have, let me do a little not so subtle product placement of White Tea Co. over in Whitehall Mill. Definitely delicious, delicious luxury teas. And our global sponsors of MailChimp and Skillshare. All right. So we are dropping into the chat, and also you can see on our website all the wonderful folks who have been supporting Creative Mornings Baltimore since our relaunch in 2019. And really, now more than ever, I really want to encourage you to be supporting these local businesses. Small Business Saturday is next weekend, which is a great invitation to really support so many great organizations and businesses that are right here in our fair city. And if you can't monetarily support them right now, which totally understand that too, go ahead and follow them on social media, like their post, reshare them, give a review on Google reviews or Yelp, positive reviews. You know, all this stuff is really helpful to this thriving small business community we have here in Baltimore. So encourage you, endorse you, go out there and do at least one today, giving you an action item. I know. I'm good. I'm good. Taking a breath. Thank you.
I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. Our Sophia chapter chose this month's exploration of Liminal. Svezda Samir illustrated the theme. We have an image of it if you haven't seen it on our social media. Look at that. Beautiful. So now for why we have gathered here today. I have the distinct honor to introduce our speaker. I'm going to read some of her bio, but I encourage you to also read her full bio on our website. Nicoletta Dorita de la Brown is an award-winning interdisciplinary artist. She is a performance artist, sculptor, filmmaker, and mother of four. She is Black Latinx, proud to be a first-generation Panamanian born in the U.S. She is a shaman and comes from a long line of healers. Her work reconceives the life of an artist as thriving, nourishing herself and others during and through her creative practice. Sorry, I couldn't read my own handwriting.
That's okay.
Creative Mornings Baltimore, please help me welcome Nicoletta de la Brown to the Creative Morning stage. Woo!
Thank you so very much. I'm just happy to be here. Is a video up? Are we doing a video, or am I just going to look into the camera and make eye contact? Well, I am just so happy to be here. Kira, I want to say thank you, first of all, for grounding me in this space. Taking a moment to just say, let's be present. Because that's really what this is about for me. This word liminal is about me being present and connected in my body, because that is my first home. So I want to begin with where liminal came up for me. So I was supposed to be doing a talk last year. I think it was was it October? September. So September month, it was Spectrum. And sometimes life tells you not today. And that was a moment that happened for me. So a couple weeks before I was supposed to be doing this, I had to have a blood transfusion. I had some other medical things that came up. And so what I needed to do was be in my bed, horizontal, for weeks. And so that was the first instance where liminal came into my life, but I didn't even know yet. So a couple weeks later, after I was feeling a little bit more like a unicorn like myself, I had a conversation with Kira and Mario about the next year, right? 2021, and being a part of Creative Mornings and the words, right? The words, what word could it be? So we looked at all these words and I was asked, what is standing out for you? And there was this moment where I looked at liminal and I was like, you are my boo and I am making you my bestie and I might propose to you. That's what liminal said to me. And I had to first wait, what is it, right? There was something about the word and then I started to look at it. And because I'm an artist, and because I'm sensitive about my shit, and I take everything seriously, I'm like, yo, let me look at this, and how can I break this down? How can I embody the word liminal? How can I make it mine? And what I first did, it was a 4-step process. So come along with me on my journey, and perhaps you'll do it too, right? It was a 4-step process. The first part of the process for me was figuring out what liminal meant. And I thought about what liminal spaces are. So I love architecture. I love beautiful hotels. I love resorts. I love spaces that are inviting. And I thought about what is a liminal space? It's a hallway. It's a foyer. It's an entryway. You're not quite outside, but you're not quite where you're going. And I thought about when you have these spaces, right? If you go to a doctor's office, what is your doctor telling you about your value when you're sitting in the waiting room? Is it plush? What sounds, right? Who's greeting you? And I thought about liminal in my own life. What does my own hallway look like? What am I creating in my space that is not where I was and not quite where I'm going? And so that was my first step of thinking about what liminal is. And I thought about it this way. I am waiting in the hallway outside of the next chapter of my life. I am sitting in that space. And so that was step 1. You with me? Okay. So, step 2. Now that I know where I am, well, what do I do next? So part of my practice was and is to take Post-it notes. So I take Post-it notes. I have these dry erase Post-it notes because I like trees, right? Like, listen, I could dry erase and do it again. So I have these Post-it notes that are dry erase, and I write notes to myself, messages. I put them on the windows. I put them on the mirrors. I put them on the cabinets. And one that I wrote down that I was sitting with was, I visualized my future self, and I started showing up as her. And I was like, ooh. Like, I had to sit back on that one. I visualized my future me. I don't know her yet, but I know what she likes. And I did this exercise, and I would invite you to do it too for yourself. I sat and I said, what does she like to do, right? When she wakes up in the morning, what does she see? What does she have to do every single day because that one thing makes her happy? Who is she loving, and who is loving her? These are questions I ask myself. And I took out a piece of paper and I made this reel. Like, I wrote down, what does her sheets look like? And I bought those sheets, y'all. Yeah. Listen, don't play with yourself. I'm not gonna, listen, my sheets are $4,000. I'm not joking. Because I know where she's going. And she sleeps in luxurious sheets. And so I do. I know what things she loves. She loves horseback riding because I fell in love with horseback riding this year. We're gonna have a conversation in a little bit about that. But I know that she rides horses, so what am I doing now to make sure I'm ready? I know that her skin is supple and soft, and so I moisturize every day. because she's asking me to do things and she's thanking me she's thanking me like, oh, I'm so happy you did that. I'm so happy you used coconut oil in that bath that time. So part of it was me thinking about who she is and then also saying no to things that she wouldn't do, right? So if I get a text in the middle of the night, I'm like, will she answer this text? Absolutely not. Somebody asked me to do something like, you know what you'd be good at? I'm like, she's not good at that. So no, not me, because I'm her. So that was the second step. So you ready? We're on step number 3. So this is what I did. I now know where I am, right? I'm now showing up as her, but what am I doing and who's with me? This is the step that was real. Alone. Being alone in your hallway is everything because it's your hallway. Now, people are like, hey, Nicoletta, and if you know me well, you call me Nico. If you don't know me, don't call me Nico, just FYI. I'm just joking, y'all call me Nico. We friends now because I'm giving you my steps. You can call me Nico when you slide in the DM. Okay, so this is what happens. People were asking me, can I sit with you in your hallway? And I was like, absolutely not, because there is one throne in here, and it's mine. And the lighting is perfect for me. And the smells are perfect for me, and it's delicious, and it's for me. And it's my hallway, and I am looking at my next chapter, so I will see you on the other side. Alone time gives me the space to hear my own thoughts. Now, why is this important? I can only speak for me. I am an empath. And so when I'm around other people, I start to pick up on them. I'm like, oh, you're sad? Oh, we're sad. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, we're sad. I'm like, I'm not sad. That's yours. I'm also thinking about the fact that, wait a minute, what do I like to do? Now, let me explain why that's a question. You might be like, how do you not know? Because I'm 40, right? I'm a grown up. How do you not know what you like to do? Let me explain something to you right now. I, at the age of 19, was coupled up, was married by 23, had my first child at 23. Every 2 years, had another child. So for about a decade, I was either pregnant or nursing. I haven't been alone for a long time, y'all. I have 4 children. Humans, little people that came out of my body. And so as a mother, I didn't have space built in to my life that was about me. So I intentionally have taken time to be alone. And what's happened is I no longer am showing up as the reflection of what others want to see, because we are mirrors 99.9% of the time of what's around us. So I also took inventory of like, who has access to me? That was crazy. I was like, who has what? You can text me on whenever you want. That's not even that sentence doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. Pay attention to who has access. Not everyone has earned the right to have access to me. So me sitting alone reminded me of my value, my worth, and what and should have access to me in my life. If it is not nourishing me, it got to go. Simple. So that was step number 3. Okay, y'all ready for step number 4? Here we go. Because that was a real step. Can someone just, let me breathe for a second. That was a real step, the alone. So step number 4 for me was to take inventory. Now I'm going to explain this, right? So pretty much everyone in this space, whether you're in the room with me now or in the ether, right, on the other side of the screen, has had a breakup of some kind in life. You can break up with someone, a partner you're dating, a job. And during that breakup, you take inventory. Like when you packing up your desk, they be like, that's my stapler, that's yours. When you break up with someone, you pack their box. You got to go. And yes, it was you, not me. Bye. But what about when you're breaking up a no version of yourself, right? So on the other side of that liminal space, outside of my hallway, was the old version of me. And yes, I love her deeply, fully with my whole body. But I also am aware that there are parts of her that no longer belong to me. And so taking inventory is important because I am someone too. The relationship I had with myself is the most important relationship of my life because I'm going to be with myself for the rest of my life. So taking inventory, remembering that I am someone and that when I meet the new version of me, I'll be ready. So those are my 4 steps. And as I sit in my own hallway, right, in my throne with these beautiful, luxurious walls. It's somehow, sunrise and golden hour at the same time. It smells amazing. If this space had a taste, it would taste delicious. This is kind of where I am. I'm getting comfortable with being myself in this moment. I am proud of exactly who I plan to be. I'm proud of who I used to be. And I am deeply in love with who I am right now. So that is what liminal means to me. I appreciate y'all. Love you. Love you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that talk.
You're welcome.
We have a lot to talk about from that talk now. But just want to start with that gratitude and for just being here. And yeah, I love that this word has resonated with you so much. To start though, I want to talk a little or give space for, we kind of started your talk and ended your talk with some short video that is from the same piece. I was hoping that you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So that piece actually was filmed in the summer of last year. My son, Victor Brown, is a filmmaking student at Baltimore School for the Arts. Woo! Yes, right? Right down the street. Hi. Hey. So he collaborates with me often on my artworks as a performance artist. He, as a filmmaker, is basically what he said to me is, Mom, I'm capturing the way that your grandmother saw you. He's protecting my energy, and he's also looking at the way that the things I do should be seen cinematically. So that piece was really about me being comfortable being in that space with who I was. It's about cleansing, it's about release, it's spiritual, it's ritual-based, and so it's also just beautiful that I get to collaborate with a human being that I get to call my child. So yeah. That's the piece that you were saying. It's called 3 Bodies. You can see the rest of it if you go to my website.
Love it. Love it. And I love that I love that you collaborated with your son on that. I think that's makes it truly, truly special.
And we collaborate all the time. Like it's an ongoing thing. He's like, all right, what's next? Here's the treatment. Here's the storyboard. I'm like, all right, here we go. Buckle up.
I love it. Love it. Love it. I forgot to mention this to you all, but please go ahead and type any questions that you have in the chat right on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're joining us from. I'll be able to see them on this iPad and pull them up, read them to Nicoletta, and you can be part of the conversation. So please join us in conversation. Give us your questions. But while we're waiting for some of those questions to percolate, I have a couple more.
All right.
So being in this deeply reflective space, your hallway, for the past year, a little under a year. What's surfaced? Has anything unexpected happened?
So the lovely thing about being in my hallway, right, making space for this solitude, is that the universe whispers to us all the time. But when you're quiet is when you can hear the messages clearly. And they're beautiful, so I'm going to share a story. So a few weeks ago, I went to a restaurant, and because I'm not going out socially a lot, I'm really mindful of where I show up and how I show up and when. It's at a restaurant that I love, and I haven't been there in a long time, and I love it. I was there with my mom. Love my moms. Hi, moms. Love you. And we were sitting there, and we were eating dinner, and there was a woman. I'm going to put down my Oprah cards because this is coming from here. There was a woman that caught eye contact with me. And it was interesting because, when you're at a restaurant, you typically don't catch eye contact with other people at other tables because you're usually sitting with someone else and having a moment, or with a group of people. But she was sitting alone. And there was a moment that I kind of felt. I was like, she's sitting alone, and she's eating dinner at night alone. And she was very much like being present, like I'm alone. And she made eye contact with me several times. And it wasn't uncomfortable. I was just like, why? And then at one point, she did like this, like, It's like, oh, you like my glasses? I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it, right? It's like, oh, it's a, hey, girl, I see you. I was like, yeah, I see you, girl. So I thought that's what it was. And that's so I let that go. And we caught eye contact a couple times and smiled. And I thought, okay, it was just like, I see you kind of moment. So at the end of my dinner with my moms, love you, Mom, one more time, because she made me, y'all. Okay. So I went to the restroom and I come back. And as I'm coming back, she makes eye contact and she gestures for me to come over. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just thinking, once again, she wants to let me know that we see each other. We're going to do a moment, a woman to moment, I see you. As I approach the table, her lips part, and before the words come out of her mouth, stream of tears. And I was like, whew. I just had to brace myself. I said to myself in my head, brace yourself and don't lock your knees. That's what I said to myself. Be present right now. This is what you practice for. And she said to me with streaming tears, I'm so sorry, I'm just feeling emotional, but I have a message for you. And I was like, once again, pay attention to this moment. She said, I don't know why I'm compelled to tell you this, but I need you to receive it. Once again, I said to myself, be here. And she held my hand, and this is COVID, y'all, time, right? So she grabbed my hand, and I was like, yup, right here for it. And what she said to me was, I've never understood this before. But she said, when I was younger, people would tell me all the time, you're beautiful and I see something special in you and you're magical and you're amazing. And often she's like, it was people that didn't know me or knew me didn't know me well. They were acquaintances or even someone who knew me a long time. I was like, oh, they're just saying that. And she said, until this moment, I didn't know what they were talking about until I saw you. And she said to me, don't you dare let anyone ever tell you to dim your light. And it took all of the energy in my body not to match her tears. And you know why I did not? Because that's not what it was for. She said it with strength and conviction through the rivers running down her cheeks. She told me her name, she asked me mine, and she released my hand. That was a couple weeks ago. If I had not been in my hallway, I would not have been prepared for that. I would not have caught her catching my eye across the room. I would not have felt comfortable walking over to her and being present and still in that moment and not feeling like I had to do something to reciprocate because she was giving me a gift that was for me only. So that is what happens when you sit in your own hallway, when you embrace being liminal, knowing that I'm not who I was and not quite who I'm going to be, but this version of me is absolutely perfect. So that was that story. Thank you, y'all.
Right? Let's applaud that story, right? My goodness, y'all. My goodness. I mean, there's so many follow-ups to that, too. I think one of the things that is surfacing for me as I hear you tell that story and just like listening to your talk too is a couple weeks ago I was part of this seminar through the Salzburg Institute, and there was a speaker, Abid Hussein from the UK Arts Council, and he said, need to be more comfortable with uncomfortable situations in order to do the work. Mm-hmm. And I keep coming back to this sentence. And I feel like even in the story you just told, we're so conditioned to be like, I give you a compliment, you give me a quick compliment back, and it's very just like like I love your shirt, right. Kind of like so reactionary. What advice do you have to get more comfortable with uncomfortable situations?
Well, the thing that's the first thing I think about is children. I have 4 children. And when my children were learning how to walk, they were determined to do it. It wasn't an option. And they fell a lot. And as a parent, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they were like, I'm good. Like, calm down, lady. Like, I'm good. And they'd be like, they were completely focused on what was happening. And if they were injured, they would pause. If they were tired, they would stop. It's like paying attention to when we were at our beginnings, how we function in the world. We didn't ask permission. We allowed. We would feel and emote. And so what I reminded myself of is I am still that little being. So if I'm feeling deeply sad, sit with the deep sadness, because our emotions are navigational tools. So if I'm like, that situation is not good for my mental health, then I break up with that situation. In the same way that when I was watching my little ones learn how to walk, I didn't tell them to stop trying. I just said, let me see how I can support you as you continue through it. So part of what I was learning to myself is to be really tender, extremely kind, and allow the space for me to sit with things that didn't feel good because I knew where I was going. And in the same way you support a tiny human who's embarking on new chapters, you never rush it. You just allow it. So my practice around this is just allowing. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So you had mentioned that Liminal has kind of been your theme for 2021, which I really love. Also, you talk about a lot in your work about rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have, does the theme of Liminal for 2021 match the calendar year?
Ooh.
And if so, do you have any kind of like ritual of moving out of that
Yeah,
space?
absolutely. So for me, it doesn't have to necessarily match. It is feeling like I'm getting to the end of it, right? Because y'all are in my hallway. Because I'm not by myself right now. So I'm slowly like looking through the door, opening the door, gonna walk through the threshold, cross over, meet her, embrace her, become her. And so part of what the next phase is for me before I get there is to do a full release. It's like I've spent an entire year with myself intentionally. So what am I taking with me through the doorway from the hallway? And so part of it is like literally writing down things. Like I have a ritual, not probably before the end of the year, where I am doing these action steps, really beautiful things of like, what am I doing? What's next for me? What's the next phase? To get myself in the mindset and spiritually be deeply connected to what's the next phase for me. So yes, it's a coming 2022. You will see me out in them streets.
We have a question coming from Facebook. When you decide to make the time for being alone and with yourself, do you give a heads up to friends to avoid interruption?
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, who are you? I like that question. Let me tell you my little trick. It's so cute. Distractions, they come up. I have 4 children, if I haven't mentioned to you before. So you decide, it's like, let everyone know that's deeply important to you. And these are people that nourish you. If someone is not nourishing you, they don't deserve a heads up. What I do instead is I have written down in my notes the like response texts, right? To people who like, you haven't texted me in 6 months. So the response is boop, 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 boop. There's no effort on my part. I just copy and paste. Nope. To emails. Nope. And I do it in a way that feels good to me. And I'll do this when I feel most myself. So for me, when I feel most in my body, it's early in the morning. So what I would do is write down these responses to people so you know, like, this person may pop up or this type of thing may pop up as a distraction. How are you going to approach it? But think about that when you're feeling full, rested, nourished, satiated, right? Not when you're hangry, not when you're like, what? When you're awake, fully embodied, after you work out, after you go running, right? I'm going to write this text now to everybody and let those people know in that way. That's what I say, because not everyone is even going to understand. You really don't want someone to try to negotiate you out of your liminal space. Like, can we? Nope. Not one more dinner before my liminal. It's closed. I'll see you in 2022. That's how you approach it. That's how I did.
We would love to hear more of your questions. People at home, feel free to join the chat. People in the room, if you have questions, we'd love to hear them too. a question of something that you kind of mentioned in passing, that you fell in love with horses in 2021.
Yes.
Tell us more.
So part of this journey, I took myself to a resort in Tucson, Arizona. Beautiful, all-inclusive, because I love myself. I love my future self. I love my past self. I love me now. And so I went there. It was called Miraval, and I had this amazing moment with horses. I did a sunset horseback riding experience, like golden mountains. It was insane. I was like, this is so romantic, and I'm so happy I'm with me. Like, oh, I'm romantic with myself. And then I had this other moment with this deeply spiritual moment with a horse where I was painting the horse. The horse was allowing me to apply paint to his beautiful coat. And then he hugged me. And I know that's like, how does a horse hug you? He literally walked up to me and wrapped his head around my body because he was so big and held me. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but yes, more of this. So that was my horse experiences.
Wow.
And there will be more of them, as I told you guys, because my future self rides horses all the time.
I feel like, Beck, you might have a question. Come on up. Come on up to the stage. I don't know.
So I have a question. Oh, should I stand anywhere? Nah, that's fine. Whenever I'm on my way to meet with Nicoletta, whether that's virtually or in person, I'm always curious as to what she will be wearing. As I know as a friend that she's very intentional with what is in her life in general, but then also how she is dressing and taking care of herself. So I'm curious as to your outfit today, if you want to.
I got you. First of all, did you downgrade yourself to one of my friends? You're one of my besties. What is it? She was like, as one of your friends, as my sister Bessie. Yes. So yes, thank you, Beck. So yes, anyone who knows me well, who knows Nico, they're like, oh, literally people say, what do you wear? Like, what color are you coming through? Or like, I guessed it was going to be this color. So I am wearing all red, and it's deeply spiritual for me. We met. And I think years ago, the first time was green. It was all green. I was in my heart chakra at the time. So I'm deeply connected to my root chakra. It is my focus. It has to do deeply with my liminal space and connected to earth and feeling grounded and knowing that I am secure and safe and that I have everything that I need in terms of resources. So that is how I live my life. I love a good fit, and it is a head to toe moment. And you will be seeing me transition soon. But yes, when you see me, people tend to say, oh, you were wearing orange. And I'm like, yep, that's me. Like, people will like yell at me like blue. And I'm like, that was yesterday. Like, yeah. So thank you for that question.
Of course you can do a follow-up.
And for those who are not familiar with chakras, can you explain just a little bit about root chakra?
Oh,
and
okay.
what that means to you?
I see you. Thank you. I appreciate you. So it's a part of my mindfulness practice and my spirituality. The chakras are energy centers in the body. And so for me, root, and in terms of where they line up, it is the base one that's connected to earth. So it's really about like, as a human being, feeling like I have all of my resources to take care of myself, feeling like I know my value, my worth, that I feel rooted. And so especially in this time for me during COVID, where it felt like I was living on a like I was like this. I was like, what's tomorrow gonna be? Is it Zoom? Do we have to wear a mask? Am I getting a vaccine? Every other day felt like something new. And this was me deeply saying, I got this. And there's something bigger than me. And I feel grounded. So it's a spiritual thing. It's a mindfulness practice. And I always feel like I can adorn my body and wrap myself before I enter the world. That's why.
Thank you for that. We have another question coming from Facebook.
Oh.
As you do your inventory and reflect, how do you forgive yourself for past mistakes?
Who are you? Yes.
Darlene.
Can you read that one more time?
Yes, of course. As you do your inventory and reflect, how do you forgive yourself for past mistakes?
I felt that. Like, forgiveness is huge. And the way that I practice that sometimes is as simple as me writing a letter. Like, I'll write a letter to my younger self, and I'll say, like, I see you, girl. And it's going to be okay, or whatever it is, or that was okay. And like whatever she needed to hear is probably what I need to hear, whether she was 9 or 12 or 15 or 17 or 22 or 28 or 32. The 40-year-old me can see her fully and know what her intention was. So when I think about forgiving myself, I remove me from the equation for a second. I think about how I would speak to my best friend. What would I say to her? And I speak to her, little me, that way. And then I put myself quickly back in my body. And then I realize I'm talking to me. So that's actually my practice. And I appreciate whoever you are that asked that question, because that is a really deeply personal, vulnerable way for me to do that, to forgive myself. And there's moments where I was like, I'm going to cry right now and feel this and allow my younger self to know that it's okay. Thank you for that question, whoever you are.
Yeah. No, it's Arlene, and she's
Arlene,
amazing.
thank you. Arlene, yes.
She has another question.
Oh, okay, Arlene.
Oops, wrong one. Do you travel to Panama often to maintain your cultural root as a shaman?
Thank you for that question. So often is not as often as I'd like, only because I mentioned I have 4 children. So my children are now at an age where they're like, Mom, bye, love you, bring us something back, love you, bye. Literally, they're like, what are you bringing back? So the plan is, especially next year in 2022, is to go back to Panama and to have that be something that's often. And also, I just got all of my children their passports. They feeling really golden right now. They're like, I have a passport. What you got? And so the plan is to take them. So that is something that is a part of the plan and hasn't been just because I was deeply focused on being in mom mode. But thanks for that question.
Yeah, definitely. Were there other questions in the room? All right. That's fine too. So then what's next for you? How can people follow your work, know when you're coming out of your hallway and kind of, see what your creative practice, where it takes you?
Yeah. Well, you can definitely connect with me on Instagram. You can also see me on my website. I will keep things on Instagram kind of more like what's happening next. And I'm currently working on a project with the Kennedy Center. So I'm creating some online content for them. I'm really excited about that as an artist, and I get to collaborate with an institution of that size. It feels really good to see, because listen, let me real talk you. I don't always see me in spaces like that. So when I see me and I see others, I'm like, here we go. Let's buckle up. So that's happening with the Kennedy Center. I'm also working on a project with the Smithsonian Hirshhorn Museum, one of my favorite museums in DC. So that's a project that's going to be launching in the spring. I will be doing a performance piece, activating the space. I'm also creating a film project with Victor Brown, my son from BSA. And I'm also doing some pieces that will go into the community. So part of it is an outreach. It's specifically connected to being a Latinx artist. And the goal is to make sure that we have a space in spaces like that and that we're also folding in our community. So the goal is to bring activities to young families with young children to be able to be inspired and make art similar to what we're making as artists. So I'm excited about that. That's coming up next year.
I mean, that all sounds incredible. And, just like casually the Kennedy Center and the Hirshhorn, like just like real cash. Like,
I mean, you gave me Oprah cards, right? So I'm like, okay, let me keep it casual.
Well, Nicoletta, it's been such a pleasure, such a joy to have you join us on Creative Mornings Baltimore. We're so grateful. I'd love, Henley, if you can put in the tight shot of Nicoletta again. You at home, we would love for you to take this opportunity to take a selfie with our lovely, wonderful speaker. So this is
time.
Yeah, selfie time. Yeah, we're gonna do some in the room too. So. So yes, and we would love to see your selfie moment on the internet. So please do tag us at Baltimore_CM. We're also putting Nicoletta's Instagram back up there on the screen too. So please tag her as well. And yeah, just thank you again for joining us. And then I want to also take a moment to just really thank everyone. This is going to be our last Creative Mornings of 2021. We traditionally take December off as kind of a liminal time to reflect and recharge.
That's coming through.
And we'll be back in January of 2022, maybe in person. I don't know. We'll see. Y'all better go get vaxxed. But I do want to thank all of our speakers from 2021. It's been a really, really tremendous year. We're so thankful for everyone who's been able to just be part of us in this production. And we're hopeful that you will join us in 2022. Come and right around the corner. And we're going to go ahead and take this moment to close out as we have been closing for the past couple months with just a couple breaths together. Just like three breaths together. So be comfortable with where you're at. You can put your hands on your knees, your heart, like whatever feels good. And we're going to do 3 together. All right, ready? All right, so breathe in and out and in and out, and one more time, in and out. Thank you again for joining us. We know this can't replace that real life experience, but hopefully we'll see you in person soon. Please take care of yourself, take care of one another, be healthy, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So good.
That's so great.
good.
So good.
That felt good.
That was really good.
That was like a therapy session.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you.
This is good. We're all receiving what you're saying, Nicoletta.
Thank you for coming into my hallway, y'all.